Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Comstock channel. I'm Marlon Bowling with you. Thank you for joining us. Well, as always, be sure to like this video and go ahead and subscribe to this video so you get notified of future podcasts coming up, and share it with others as well. You might especially want to do it this time because with me on the podcast, I have George Stiegler. He's from Germany. And George, thank you for joining us here. There's a lot of ground we need to cover here. Very important stuff, too. If you would, share with our audience what part of Germany you're located in, and you are an active farmer.
Hello, thanks for the invitement here. I'm glad to be here. My farm is located in Saxony. It's in the eastern part from Germany. It's the part it's former from the GDR.
All right. Now, you are currently a farmer, and we're going to talk in a little bit here about the current farmer protests and how you're involved in that. And they're pretty widespread all across Europe, and it could have some big implications moving forward. Give me a little background about your particular farm. I know you have a website there. In fact, if our viewers want to check it out or something, how would we find you on the internet?
Our website is it's Waldenburger /Agrar. It's WALDERGER.de, but it's only in German. The site is it's not available in English. Or maybe you can see it through the pictures and the themes there. What's the farm is?
Well, I will say right here that I looked at it yesterday, and if you look at it, for example, with Google Chrome browser, it will translate it for you automatically if you
Oh,
activate that translation function on there. And so, yeah, I was reading it in English, and I thought it was great. So, explain your farm operation.
we are a cash crop farm. We are our family. It's not the biggest fan of animals. So we make some this normal stuff: wheat, barley, sugar beets. We have some special operation. We make some poppy for bakery industries, and and some small seeds. We make various of clover and grass seeds for seed production. Yes, and we are at uh, on the direction to the mountains. Our sea height is from 270 to 400 meters. So we sometimes we get late spring and early winter on the fields hill beside. Yes, my great grandfather bought this farm in 1923, and my grandfather lost it 1967 because in the GDR the governmental farms were built, some big co-op farms, and it was not allowed to be a farm for itself. And in 1990, both countries came back together to one big Germany, and my father started the farming again with 22 acres. And now we are running about 2,000 acres on our farm.
So now they lost it when the government took it over. Was he able to get that same ground back again, the same land, or is it different land now?
No, we get the same land back. It was a difficult situation. A lot of people leave the eastern part of Germany and go to the west. Sometimes they are not able to get this own land back. My family stayed here, and in the document who shows the owner from the land, we all people who stayed here stayed in this document. It was only not allowed to use it. The government use it, you are the owner, but not really. It's not only a bit. I can show it in the back, and I don't know if you see it. This map here. This is the 22 acres who are to our first to the farm.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's amazing how you increased 100 times from your
Yes.
22 acres Um, how did you do that so fast?
A lot of farmers in there. It was, you have to know, it was 40 years GDR. It means a complete generation on knowledge was a bit lost. Yes, had a lot of farmers. They are only working on the co-op farm as some tractor driver or something like this. They are a bit scared to start the business with nothing. So you had only 10 hectares and some buildings who are nearly rotten down. No tractor, no combine, nothing. You have to start with nothing. And this scared a lot of people after the reunion. And you have to, my father has a co-op with another guy, and he had some family in the western part, and they are the the advice to use the money properly and get some credit and what to buy on machinery. It was the opportunity, and all the farmers are they are not happy with the governmental co-op. They gave the land to the farmers who started again with farming. And this was, and then in the situation, the last 20, 30 years, some farmers stopped then again. And we had the opportunity to get 2, 3 farms who stopped farming. And that is why we came to this size. But it's with our 2,000 acres here. Our next big neighbor farms 10,000 acres.
So I'm curious, when you said you got back into it when Germany reunified, that was in the 1990s.
Yes, yes.
When you did that, were you able to grow whatever you wanted? Did you have any restrictions or not?
In the first years, there were no restrictions, and we produced free on the market and get the money from the market, like on every grain board it's for selling. But there were also nearly no regulations. Um, it's when I look, it was the same regulations in like the States in the 90s. You have some herbicides who are lost actually, and with the fertilizer and all and the regulations for the nature, um, there were nearly nothing. So you can produce for the world market to world market prices. Uh, and on 1995, I think, there were from the European Union a program to bring you some money, and you have to bring higher regulations for the nature and for the fertilizer, and uh, this was the beginning on the European farm policy together then. So it was not really a regulation, it was a beginning at 1995, maybe around this.
Okay, and from what I understand, it sounds like the regulations just keep getting more and more and more. Is that correct? You were talking about regulations for nature. Here we would call it environmental regulations. But that leads us to where farmers all across Europe right now, many, many countries, are protesting. Now, are they protesting against the European Union and their regulations? Is it about taxes? What is it they're protesting about? And are all the different countries protesting for the same reason?
It's we say it's like a barrel, and the last drop on the barrel brings it to flow over. It's since 2000 the regulations are every higher and higher and higher. We lost many herbicides and fungicides. We are restricted on the usage on fertilizer, especially nitrogen, and some regions. What's it's potash, I think. Um, uh, yeah, these regulations, and now the European Union brought you have to use 4% your farm and do nothing on it, and you get no money for this. And yes, and then it's the same like in the States, the dyed diesel. in Europe, we have in Germany, we have a system we can bring to the government our used diesel, and we get some taxes and on the end on the year back. This the government want to bring this down. We have to pay the diesel at full, and also I know in the States you have these red triangles on the back on the tractor as a self-moving field vehicle. In Germany, every tractor needs a license plate, like every car or every tractor. But we are all the years we are without taxes on it. I don't know if it's in the States it's similar. You have to pay taxes for the license plate to use the roads. And with this money, the roads gets paid then for the repairs. It's a good idea, but 80 or 90% the tractor are not on the roads; they are on the fields. It's just the way to the field, and this is why we don't have to pay for this tax on the plate, and this they won't also cut down. So we have to pay full tax on the machinery and full tax on the diesel and the 4% with no land using. And this was the last drops to start the protests now.
George, you and I were talking before we started the interview about how different farm organizations had a different approach. And it sounds like the organization you're with, and maybe you can explain the group that you're with and represent, how it compares to maybe some of the older farm organizations and why you are more active now.
The association I'm joining, it's called Landschaftsverbindung in Saxony, and the big company is Landwirtschaft verbindet. It's something for name rights. It was a bit tricky for the beginning. It's started in 2019 with the Dutch farmers. You know it, that the Dutch government want to bring all the land down or back to nature or something like this. So the farmers there started the big protests, and this came to Germany in 2019. Here it was the same time with the nitrogen monitoring network in the European Union. So the older associations are stick hard together with the politician parties. So they directly what association is with what party, and you don't see any effects on their working. They sit on every meeting with every politician all over, but it's only getting worse. This is why our farm, my father moved out from the old association in maybe 1998. So on this time we are not joining any association. And in 2019, I said it's time to join something young and fresh. So the starting was on the social media messengers. So we had quick connections around the whole Germany. When some farmer at the North Sea wants to bring something, you know it immediately. And that's why our association is a bit faster, like the older ones.
What is your average age in your organization?
I know it only exact for Saxony. Here it's 36.
36.
Yes.
That's very young.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of young farmers there now?
It's Saxony especially isn't the biggest farming land in Germany. It's Bavaria or it's I don't know in English. In the northwest, it's in German. It's Niedersachsen. I don't know in English. This is the big farming lands. In Saxony, we have out of our history, not this many farms. It's a lot of from the GDR co-op farms actually are working. They have maybe half of the land from Saxony, and the other half is from young guys. But when you're on protest in the cities, on every tractor is a young guy with his girlfriend or the children. It's amazing when you see the future on the farming.
Are people in the cities supporting you very much?
Yes, it's good to see. This year we started in January the 18th was a big demonstration. We blocked the the ramps from the highways for 24 hours was the plan, but it had 12, minus 12 degrees Celsius. I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it was very cold and the wind chill was double this cold. So we stopped and when the evening came, but the city guys, they brought some cookies, sausages, coffee, tea, and they came out on the ramps and said, go further, go further. You save our future." It was an amazing feeling when some people you don't know stopped at the ramp there and said, "Here you have some tea, warm up, and you're making a good job." This brings something in you.
Now that's interesting. You seem to have much more support than maybe farmers would in the US if they did something like that. That's very interesting. What about the situation with oh, let's say with Ukraine right now? A lot of farmers are upset that Ukrainian grain is coming out across parts of Central and Eastern Europe to get exported, and they're afraid that it's driving down their prices. Are you seeing that where you are?
Oh, that's it's actually a big problem. The politicians they told us the grain will be transported through the countries to the harbors to bring it to Africa and the Middle East, they need it. It was the old way from the grain. It's from the Black Sea with the ships down to Africa and Middle East. But the harbors are destroyed there, and you know it. Actually, the grain it comes to Europe, and that's a problem from the regulations. When you are with the truck inside the European Union, nobody cares about. Nobody looks if the trailer arrives the harbor or unloads on the way. It was actually maybe 2 weeks ago a big scandal. It's they had some wheat from the Ukraine with some pesticide, herbicide, I think it was. They are not allowed, and average in the wheat was way too high to use it as bread wheat. Actually, nobody knows really on what place the trucks dump their wheat, or the corn is also the Ukraine produces, or you can get bread wheat from the Ukraine for 90 euro per ton. Uh, Maybe it's, I don't know, it's in dollar per bushel. Can't say it exactly.
Oh, that's all right.
Um, yeah, and the problem is the 90 euros, you have to bring 30, 40 euros per ton transportation to Germany. So we are on 130, 140 euros per ton wheat in Germany, free dumped. And our own production cost on bread wheat is about 180, 190 euros per ton.
Wow.
So it's a big problem. We are not against the transportation. We know the Ukrainian farmers need also to bring their product to his customer. But the border control and the governmental institutions have to take care about that the wheat arrives the harbor and gets on the ship. Actually, nobody knows. where the wheat goes. It's a big problem.
So, as you can see, farmers in Germany and other countries around Europe have a whole litany of things that they have to protest about. And it's getting to be kind of a very serious and dire situation. They're protesting not only for their livelihoods, but also for a way of life for their families that they've known for generations. The fight will go on, but in tomorrow's episode, I'll continue this conversation with George, and we'll talk about what happens with the protests once we get into planting season. Farmers are going to be too busy to be tied up on protests. So then what? I encourage you to come back and check out part 2 of my discussion with George Stiegler. Appreciate you joining us. For producer Brianne Hendrickson, I'm Marlon Bowling. Catch you next time, right here on the Comstock channel. Thanks for joining us on our Comstock YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can also find us on Facebook and TikTok as well.